Okay. Well, thank you to everybody who has joined us here. There was a little bit of a delay getting the Zoom meeting started, but
this meeting is being recorded.
Now that we have Zoom up and running, we can give everybody another minute or so just to make sure that we're all here. But given that we've been doing remote participation meetings for 6 months, and this is the first really hiccup we've had in that respect, I'll say we're still doing pretty darn good. So.
Yeah, and we've had the same, good luck with the ZBA as well and some other boards. So it's been, some towns don't even have it, and they've actually not even had public hearings since March.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't imagine the backlog of business they will have to deal with. And I'm happy that I'm not in that situation. Okay. Let's see. I know I see Warren, I see Steve, I see Julie in the Zoom. Kevin had sent a message saying that he does not believe he would be able to make it tonight. Scott, are you here?
Yeah, good evening. I am here. I do have to disconnect at 8 though. Just want to let you know when I'll work with Paul to connect offline with any requirements that he needs to follow up on.
Okay. And Joe, are you on the line as well?
I'm not online on my phone. I don't have the web service.
Well, you were in the meeting, I should say. So, okay. Okay. So we have 6 board members plus, and with Kevin potentially not being able to join, that is everybody. So I will go ahead and get the meeting started, Paul, whenever you and Media Center is ready.
We are ready.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone virtually to the Norton Planning Board's meeting of Tuesday, September 29th. As you all know, this is remote participation only pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. I'm not going to read the whole spiel, but members of the public wishing to participate can join the meeting online via the Zoom link listed in the posted agenda or through the Zoom app using meeting ID 638-929-1060. There is also a direct dial-in number, which is 646-558-8656, with the meeting ID the same. You may need to try more than once to connect. This meeting is also going on Norton Cable Access Channel 15. It will be available the next day on Norton Media Center's YouTube page. No in-person attendance for members of the public permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time. In addition, please feel free to email questions to the board ahead of meetings or during the meeting to Town Planner Paul DiGiuseppe. His email address is on the Town Norton's website, which is probably easier than trying to say it aloud. Additionally, meeting materials are online at nortonma.org/planningboard/pages /participate remotely, and all this is listed on the posted agenda. So with that out of the way, I will move into our general business. I don't believe we have any business and policies to run through, Paul, I don't see any bills in the folder.
Right, and you didn't sign any last week, I believe.
So I did 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, right?
No, I did sign one last week.
The Verizon bill, the $51.
So I just put those in the folder for the next meeting so the board can review it. if that works, Paul.
Yeah.
Okay. And in terms of minutes, there is one set of minutes posted in the Dropbox folder, which is from our last meeting of September 15th. Has everyone had a chance to review those minutes? And are there any questions or edits that we have?
Motion to approve the minutes?
Thank you, Julie, for the motion. Thank you, Steve, for the second. Is there any further discussion? Joe, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No?
Okay. I saw your phone pop up, so I wasn't sure if you were starting to say something.
No, just put myself back in.
Okay. So if no further discussion, I'll go down the line based on how I have everybody organized in the gallery in front of me. Oren, you would be first.
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Scott?
Yeah.
And finally, Joe?
Yes?
And I will vote yes. So the minutes from the previous meeting are approved. The next item on the agenda is an A&R endorsement for 0 South Washington Street, the owner applicant Norton Development. Paul, do you know if anybody from the applicant was intending to attend the meeting?
There isn't, and he's here. It's Michael Dryden.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Mr. Dryden, if you'd like to give a quick summary to the board around the A&R plan that you've submitted.
Absolutely, thank you. Again, Michael Dryden, Senior Project Manager, Allen Engineering in Hopedale, Mass. Here on behalf of the owner applicant, Norton Development, Inc. And I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with this property. If you'll allow me to share my screen, I can walk through the A&R plan. It's relatively straightforward.
Sure. Paul, do you have to enable that for him, or should he be able to just say share screen from his
He
device?
should be able to share it.
Okay. Okay. And the board members do have access to the document via shared drive as well.
Can everyone see that?
It's right on the locus.
Yep. So 495, the town line, Norton top town line here, and the site is at the intersection of Hill Street and Washington Street. And let me just pan out to the plan. Again, very straightforward proposal this evening. It's known as Lot 1. Currently, it contains 16.64 acres located in the industrial zone. The proposal before you is to simply divide that lot into Lot 1A and Lot 2A, each containing 8.32 acres of land. Both of those proposed lots meet all of the applicable dimensional requirements within the zoning bylaw, including area, frontage, shape factor, and contiguous upland area. I believe it is that straightforward, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. And just to make sure that I understand the plans correctly, the boxes in both of the proposed lots that's just to signify the information within. There are no actual buildings on the lot.
Correct. That's just a shape factor demonstration to demonstrate that it's less than 22 as required under the bylaw.
Thank
So
you.
no existing buildings. That is a little confusing now as I look at the plan.
Yeah, no, I pulled up the satellite view and I went, okay, that makes sense. But I figured I would, in case anybody else had that brief moment of confusion, I figured I would confirm that. Are there any additional questions from members of the board regarding the A&R plan submitted?
Is it possible to add the frontage dimension on the actual plan for lot 1B? Have it for 1A, but I can't find it for 1B.
Oh, I see what you mean. That must be a layering issue. Absolutely. We'll add that and get you a revised Mylar for endorsement.
Great, thank you.
That's a good observation. I'm not sure what happened there.
Okay. Is there anything else from anybody from the board? Any other comments of any kind from? Otherwise, I would.
I was muted. I was motioning to endorse.
Thank you, Steve, for the motion.
I'll second.
Thank you, Julie, for the second. Any further discussion?
Does the motion include with the added change?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just to note, the frontage is indicated in the table, but to the member's point, it's not shown correctly on the plan, so it should be added.
Okay.
Okay. Hearing no further discussion, I will go to the vote. Warrant?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Scott?
Yeah.
Joe?
Yep.
And I will vote yes. The A&R is endorsed because we're still working on the under the current climate of the world. Paul, we can coordinate when you would like me to come by and endorse the actual document.
Sure. When Michael gives us that updated Mylar, we'll.
Exactly. Yeah.
And this is a good point that for some of you who haven't signed the revised letter to the registry, please do so, because it might still be that Steve has to sign it at this point. So please go ahead and get yours in if you haven't. And I know Nicole has sent you that email recently.
I dropped mine off today, Nicole. I had it in my truck, and I wasn't driving my truck for like 2 weeks. I signed them right after she sent it.
I dropped it in the paid bills box. Is that where it's supposed to go?
I believe we did get yours, Oren.
Okay.
And I'm sure Steve's is somewhere in town hall.
I dropped it off this afternoon.
Okay. So, again, if any of the members have not signed it, please do. If you're not sure, you can reach out to Nicole and she can confirm that she has it. She did the same for me. But for this A&R, Mr. Dryden, thank you for presenting. And we'll move on along.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing for SP 494 for 0 Rear E Street. The applicant has requested an additional continuance because they have they're switching up some of the members of their staff, and they're still trying to put together the plans that they need. Paul, is there anything else you want to share on that? Otherwise, I'd look to a motion for the continuance.
To October 6th.
I'll move to continue to October 6th.
Second.
Steve with the motion, Julie with the second. Oren, you had something for further discussion?
I had raised an issue with Paul on something that came up in reviewing that. I was wondering if she had a chance to discuss that with Amy and whether that's relevant to.
Yeah, we communicated today. She will be finalizing her response as it was being requested to be continued. She'll have something before they come back. Hopefully it's next week when they come back.
Okay, it had running on how they proceed is I just want to give them this question. If there's an issue, I want to let them know as early as possible.
Yeah, it could be a significant one.
Okay. Is there anything else further in regards to the motion to continue this to the October 6th meeting? Otherwise, I will move to the vote. Oren?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Scott?
Yeah.
And Joe?
Yep.
And I will vote yes. Special permit 494 is continued to October 6th. The next item on the agenda is a public hearing regarding upcoming town meeting warrant, which has two parts, both tied into the rail trail project. This is coming to us from the Board of Selectmen, and it relates to both North Washington Street as well as Crane Street. Paul, do you want to lead into this? And I'm not sure if we have additional people presenting on the materials that we have in the Dropbox.
We do. So actually, Amy is here to present on that, and I see Mike Units is here too. I'm assuming Mike is here on this issue as well. So again, you're going to be voting whether you do it tonight or next week. You're making a recommendation back to the select board, which will also be read at the October 17th town meeting.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Hey, Paul, it's Julie.
Hey, Julie.
Did you talk to Amy about me being a property owner along the path?
I did, but well, she's here, so.
So, first of all, this is a 48 Section 5 public hearing for the zoning amendment. Oh, no, it's not, because it's a road, never mind, it's a road relocation, sorry. Julie, I don't necessarily think that you have any conflict. Would be no financial gain by what's being proposed, but if you have enough members and you don't feel comfortable, you can abstain, but that's up to you.
Oh, no, I don't feel the need to abstain. Just wanted to make sure that everything was okay. I'm not adjacent to any of those roadways. I'm down the rail trail. So I just wanted to double, triple check, that's all. So no, I don't feel like I have a conflict.
Right. So the important thing about this, and I'm not sure if Mike wanted to do a presentation or anything like that, but the important thing about this is it's not necessarily a road. It's not a road layout. It's a relocation, meaning there's no plan on record showing the road layout, and so that's all this is. This is essentially putting a plan on record. And that's pretty much, once town meeting votes on this, it will be the end of it. We don't expect to have to take any kind of easements or anything like that, because it already exists. Everything already exists.
Thank you, Amy. Mike, is there anything you wanted to add to this discussion?
Sure. Ironically, I'm watching Chronicle right now, and they're doing rail trails in Massachusetts, so I'll put that on mute. I just wanted to echo what Amy said, that these roads have already been accepted by the town previously, but back in the day when they'd accept roads, they'd do it without plans, and where we're receiving state funds and federal funds, we need to have plans on record anywhere we're doing improvements for the road, for the bike trail. And as Amy said, we're not taking any property, which is simply when the engineers started doing their surveying, they found out that there were never plans put on file for these roads. So that's all it's doing, is just putting the plans on file.
Okay, thank you. Members of the board, are there any additional questions, either for Amy or for Mike, the town manager, about this? I know in the folder there was a document that kind of laid out the timelines of what us and the town meeting and board of selectmen are kind of trying to do in terms of getting everything approved and recommended on time for town meeting.
One of the documents has from Supit is project options. We're not dealing with those at all.
So can I just for Amy and Mike's sake, because the rail trail was something that this board hadn't been very involved with. I'd given them some background information that I had pulled from the rail trail. Some of it came from the rail trail website, and so Warren's referencing a PowerPoint that Serpid had done about 5 years ago. So I'm sorry, Warren, I interrupted.
No, that's right. Thank you. That's fine.
So that wouldn't be before nothing like that would be before you right now. This is just, we're just gonna put the plans on record so we can get the funding.
Okay. Okay. So, so again, just to confirm what we're looking for the planning board to do is to submit a recommendation, in theory, in favor of the plans, and submitting those to the select board. Does anybody else have any further questions or points of discussion?
Yeah, this is Joe. A question for Amy, and it's a bit off the wall, but by accepting or putting the rail trail on a plan, and it's a public way, what, if any, rights does that give property owners who may want to develop property with the claim that they're on a public way?
So the roads were already accepted by the town, so they're already public ways. They're just on a plan.
The roads are, are we not now putting the rail trail on the plan as well?
No, you're not. There's no, it's not on the plans at all. It's just the roads. And you'll see, it's the railroad right of way that exists right now, not the rail trail.
Okay. If there's nothing else from members of the board, I would be looking for a motion to act on this one way or another. Steve, I see your hand up.
Yeah, well, since it's a public hearing, is there anyone, I don't see anybody from the public on here, but you have questions? Otherwise, I'll motion.
I'm not hearing anybody from the public with comments.
So my motion would be to close the public hearing.
Thank you, Steve, for the motion, and Scott for the second. Any further discussion before we close the public hearing? Hearing none, I'll move to the vote of the members. Oren?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Scott?
Yeah.
And Joe?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. So the public hearing is now closed. And unless anything further, I would look for a motion to recommend that the Amy, what would the wording on this be? That the would it make sense to do this as two individual motions, or as one joint motion? Or do you no preference at all? It appears that Amy dropped off immediately as I asked her a question.
I'll be safe in motion to endorse, or however we're going to word it, the first one.
Okay. I think,
Mr. Chairman, I would recommend that you vote for North Washington Street, and then do another one for Crane Street.
yes, that's what we're doing. Yeah. So we'd be looking to, the motion would be to accept as a public way the relocated portions of North Washington Street as shown in the plan entitled North Washington Street Right-of-Way Relocation Plan dated August 31st of this year.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Julie. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Oren?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Scott?
Yeah.
Joe?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. And we have one more piece of the puzzle outstanding here. I can read the wording if somebody would like. We would be looking to accept as a public way the relocated portions of Crane Street as shown on a plan entitled Crane Street Right-of-Way Relocation Plan dated August 31st of this year.
So moved.
Thank you, Steve.
This is Scott, I'll second.
Thank you, Scott, for the second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Oren, what would be your vote?
Yes.
And Steve?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. So the board has voted to recommend the acceptance of both of those, the plans for both of those relocated portions of roadways. Paul, would you be able to draft up the written recommendation and get it over to the select board?
I will do that in the morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, Mike.
Good night.
Okay, so I was hoping that Amy would pop back on, but the next portion of the agenda is in regards to an executive session. Before I move to that, Paul, do you have the plans available related to this?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So at this point,
We have to adjourn the regular meeting.
Right.
yes, I know.
Do we need,
I was just confirming that he had the files to.
I do.
do we need Amy for this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an executive session, so yeah, she's been very involved with it.
She's not on. Do we have her on yet?
She is not on, and I've texted her. So, but Shane is aware that we're soon to be closing. So, Amy, lost internet. She's trying to call in.
Okay. So, as soon as, but I think that for members of the public, the Norton Planning Board, we're moving into an executive session under General Law, Chapter 30A, 21, Section A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation regarding GAC Development, LLC, versus Steve et al., the Norton Planning Board. Votes may be taken. The Planning Board will not be returning back to an open public meeting after the executive session. So we would be adjourning the public meeting and moving into an executive session. So any members who are not on the board would need to go off of the Zoom call. Before we do that, is there anything else that anybody would like to discuss for the meeting this evening? Okay. Hearing none, I guess I would be looking for a motion.
This is Joe, Tim. I'll move that we go into executive session for purposes of discussing ongoing litigation, not to return to open session.
Thank you, Joe, for the motion.
This is Scott, I'll second.
Thank you, Scott, for the second. Amy, welcome back. We are just we are just motioning to adjourn the public portion of the meeting and to move into the executive session. So is there any further discussion by members of the board before we act on the motion to adjourn the public session of the meeting? Hearing none, I will move to the vote. Oren,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. At this point, we should be ceasing broadcasting.